Congratulations to Justice Breyer and to all the honorees, and best wishes to all of you for a productive session of the World Law Congress. Join all of you gathered at the United Nations today to celebrate the opening session of the New York World Law Congress. I want to thank the World Jurists Association and its chairman, Javier Cremades, for hosting today's program and for the important work the organization plays in our international community. So congratulations to Justice Breyer and to all the honorees, and best wishes to all of you.
For 60 years, the association has carried out exceptional work, mobilizing the international legal community in a global campaign to promote governance of laws, not of men, the rule of law, not the rule of arbitrary decisions, authoritarianism, and brute force. Now is a good moment to remember that the creation of the World Jurists Association took place at the height of the Cold War, to promote an idea that remains extraordinarily relevant. Only under a governance of laws, under the protection of the law, can we guarantee that citizens and their nations will be able to live in peace and freedom.
Law is to protect freedom. It's to protect everyone's freedom and to have rules by which we relate to one another in society.
A new nation created in liberty and based on the proposition that all men are created equal. Today we are fighting a great war, and this is the point.
Ladies and gentlemen, continuing with the program, we are very honored to have with us today the President of Ecuador, His Excellency Guillermo Lasso.
Henry Molina, presidente de la Corte Suprema de Justicia de República Dominicana. Señor Anthony Kennedy, juez principal de la Corte de los Estados Unidos de América. Señora mundial de juristas, altas personalidades, distinguidos jueces y juezas, representantes de la academia, invitados especiales, amigos todos, distinguidos asistentes. Es un honor en mi primera actividad oficial en Estados Unidos, es un honor dirigirme a ustedes en el evento de inauguración de la edición 28 del prestigioso World Law Forum. Mi saludo afectuoso a las autoridades y directivos de este también a los participantes y a todos los turistas que se encuentran presentes. Me alegra sobremanera saber que este Congreso, de tanto prestigio y altísimo nivel en las Américas, abordará temas de enorme importancia en este momento, como la democracia, el Estado de Derecho, la libertad de expresión, la justicia internacional, los derechos humanos, la era digital y hasta el populismo. Son asuntos de alta relevancia que los demócratas debemos analizar siempre como un mecanismo de vigilancia y protección al mejor sistema político que conocen los países de la edad moderna. La democracia y el Estado de Derecho son fundamentales en el ejercicio de gobernar, tanto que marcan el futuro de la sociedad. La democracia y el Estado de Derecho tienen un contradictor muy fuerte, el populismo, que crece de manera preocupante en los países con altos niveles de pobreza, corrupción y violencia. En América Latina tenemos varios ejemplos de ello. Sin embargo, también están encendidas las alertas en los países desarrollados, porque los populismos autoritarios están retomando lesivos conceptos que ponen en riesgo los derechos humanos, muy relacionados con la movilidad humana. Este es un espacio relevante para subrayar que para proteger a la democracia se debe gestionar un crecimiento económico en armonía con los derechos humanos, la naturaleza y las leyes. Estas condiciones que permiten que los ciudadanos puedan materializar sus derechos y tener mayor comprensión de que la democracia es el mejor sistema de gobierno. De lo contrario, como también ocurre en América Latina, los gobiernos autoritarios y populistas tienen mayores posibilidades de ascender, ya que utilizan mecanismos democráticos como las elecciones para llegar al poder. Y también sabemos que desde ese momento empiezan a corroer el sistema democrático, toman el control de toda la institucionalidad pública, son autores descarados del saqueo y la corrupción y no tienen ningún rubor en violar derechos humanos. Vivimos una etapa de trascendentales transformaciones donde la forma de comunicarnos y resolver conflictos mutuos cada día, la tecnología nos brinda asombrosos medios para visibilizar y canalizar legítimas demandas de sectores que hasta hace muy poco eran ignorados. Pero en medio de estos cambios no podemos perder la perspectiva de que el Estado de Derecho es la piedra angular sobre la cual se construyen sociedades libres, justas y equitativas. Nuestro deber como líderes exige escuchar y atender las demandas ciudadanas con la importancia que éstas merecen y en el menor tiempo posible. Este foro es un escenario para renovar nuestro compromiso con los principios democráticos y la defensa del Estado de Derecho, esenciales para poner límites al abuso de los gobernantes, garantizar la independencia de poderes y respeto de las libertades y derechos. Queridos amigos, Reciban todos ustedes un fuerte abrazo y el cariño del pueblo ecuatoriano. Que Dios los bendiga a todos. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, President Lasso, for honoring us tonight, this morning, and for inaugurating with your wise words the discussions which will take place during the whole day between lawyers and prosecutors and jurists from 60 countries. So thank you very much. And I would like to give now the floor to our host of today, the president of the New York City Bar Association, Susan Coleman. You have the floor.
Good morning. It is a great honor for the New York City Bar Association to host this 60th anniversary edition of the World Law Congress and to welcome this remarkable assemblage of world leaders, high court justices, and friends in the legal profession from all around the world. We extend our deep gratitude to the World Jurist Association for bringing us all together at a time when it has never been more important for us to be together and take action together in order to bring about, as the World Jurist Association's mission has said since its founding, a world ruled by law, not force. A world ruled by law, not force. Many of us have been privileged enough and comfortable enough that those wonderful words have washed over us until now. They land very differently today after the events in Ukraine, after January 6th in this country, and after many other sad signs of the times around the world. A world ruled by law, not force. A simple principle, grounded in a simple, seemingly obvious choice. And yet, at the opening session of this World Law Congress at the United Nations in April, as you saw on the video, as retired U.S. Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer noted, today we are fighting a great war. And this is the point: freedom, equality, rule of law. That's what he said. Javier Camades, president of the World Jurist Association, said in April, "The world is struggling. We really have a difficult time to promote and preserve the rule of law, even within democracies." I want you all to know how committed the New York City Bar Association is to preserving the rule of law and democracy. It's in our DNA. We were founded for that very reason. In 1870, in the wake of our Civil War, to address corruption in the judiciary and create a fair system of justice. And today, even as we work to protect the rule of law in America from the well-known threats to it over the past several years, we maintain a robust international focus with 19 committees, with international affairs as their focus, and having joined the United Nations Global Compact in support of a more socially and economically inclusive global community. I should add that we have many, many international members, and we welcome all of you, fellow lawyers, to join us. Make yourselves at home here when business or pleasure brings you to our great city, New York. 60 years ago, in 1963, Chief Justice Earl Warren of the United United States Supreme Court, along with ABA President Charles Ryan, as you saw in the video, inaugurated the first World Law Congress in Greece. 6 years after they joined with Sir Winston Churchill to found the World Jurist Association. That same year, 1963, Chief Justice Warren stood where I am standing now and spoke of the legal issues associated with desegregation efforts, while picketers carrying "Impeach Earl Warren" signs demonstrated just outside these doors. 2 years later, another great man stood on this very spot and addressed an overflow crowd. It was 1 year after the enactment of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and 3 months before the signing of the Voting Rights Act, when Dr. Martin Luther King gave an address here at this podium entitled "The Civil Rights Struggle in the United States Today." Dr. King told the lawyers who sat in the audience, just as you are today, he said, "Standing before you in the house of this association, whose very cornerstone is an abiding respect for law, I am impelled to wonder, who is better qualified to demand an end to this debilitating lawlessness, to better understand the mortal danger to the entire fabric of our democracy when human rights are thwarted? Who indeed? It is up to us, together, and that is why we are all here today. Thank you all for coming and joining us as we recognize today those whose work and careers, like those of Chief Justice Earl Warren and Martin Luther King, have been dedicated to preserving the rule of law. And thank you for your engagement today in the panels addressing so many critical issues. Together, let us work for a world ruled by law, not force. Let us, like Dr. King, demand an end to debilitating lawlessness around the world. And let us, together, achieve peace through law. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a great speech by our host. And she has quoted so many great men and women who have been a symbol for bringing the rule of law forward. And so one of the way the World Jurist Association promotes a living rule of law is by recognizing institutions and personalities whose work and career are for bringing forward a world where justice prevails over force. Today we will bestow 3 magnificent jurists with the World Jurist Association's Medal of Honor. But before we do that, we will have the opening remarks of Anthony Kennedy, Senior Judge of the Supreme Court of the United States. We are very honored to hear him speak to us. Judge Kennedy, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, Mr. President, my distinguished brothers and sisters in the judiciaries around this world, and friends of the rule of law.
advocates for the idea and the reality of the rule of law. It is my honor to be your guest, and in a sense also to welcome you here to New York and to our nation. Some years ago, a decade and a half ago, in Vienna, it was my pleasure to host a conference of judges from 8 Eastern European countries. We had just one judge from each country. It was very small. And then we met for a day and a half or so. Afterwards, some students from the local college in Vienna were there, and we went out to greet them, and a young lady raised her hand, and she said, "There are 2 tragedies in my country. First, the rule of law is slipping away. Second, many seem to know this, but few seem to care." We have to remember, my friends, that the rule of law can be lost in many different ways. Hitler and Stalin attacked their own governments and then abrogated the rule of law. And other dictators, in more subtle ways, have attacked the rule of law frontally. But the rule of law can also be lost from indifference. We cannot be indifferent to the rule of law that protects our freedom. And my concern is that when people look at the United States, my own country, they do not always see a discourse, a conversation, a thoughtful interchange that is always respectful and dignified, maybe sometimes humorous. We don't see that much anymore. And it is our obligation in my country to show the rest of the world that the rule of law works and that it is necessary for our freedom. Freedom can be lost. We can see it in our own time. It's been lost in different countries in different ways. And Aristotle wrote about this. In Athens, you can see that freedom had been lost. The Americans think often, as they should, about their Constitution. And in the United States, when you say the word Constitution, people usually think of a capital C. The document that was drafted in 1787 and ratified and adopted in 1789. The document had a separation of powers and it had a Bill of Rights. The Constitution with a capital C. But there's also a Constitution with a small c. And that's the sum total of our mores, our manners, our customs, our beliefs, Mr. President, our aspirations for protecting our freedom. And this is the small c Constitution. This is the small c Constitution that Hobbes and Locke and Rousseau refer to in their writings. And the small c Constitution and the large c Constitution in our country must sustain each other. And we do this, again, through a dialogue, a discourse. And it is the purpose of your meeting and of this meeting to enhance that discourse and to find better ways for all of us to make sure that the rule of law does not slip away. That it does not slip away through direct attack or through indifference. It is true that the President has said, in a way we like to think that freedom is part of our DNA, but freedom must be taught. Freedom is not preserved on its own. It's a natural instinct, but one that can be ignored. And the purpose of your meeting here is to remind all of us, remind ourselves, that we must always unite in assisting each other in finding better ways to reach closer to the idea of freedom, the freedom that is protected by the rule of law to which you are so devoted. Welcome, and we wish you the very best in your position.
Thank you, Justice Kennedy. It is true, the rule of law is under stress in a lot of places of the world. And that is why we have gathered here in order to find solutions. But it is also true that the rule of law works. And we have three eminent persons to honor today who show how, why, and in which way the rule of law works. So I am honored to present first Judge Ricardo Pérez Manrique, the President of the Inter-American Court of Human Rights. He is a lawyer from Uruguay who has been serving at his international court since 2019. Former to this, he was a judge and the President of the Supreme Court of Justice of Uruguay. And for more than 30 years, Judge Pérez has dedicated his career to the judiciary. And his background before was family and children protection. Please give us a round of applause to Judge Ricardo Pérez Manrique, while President Cremades and Judge Kennedy will bestow him with the Medal of Honor.
Permanente de justicia, de paz y de vigencia de la dignidad humana. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, President Manrique, and we look forward to your panel. The panel of President will be judges of the world and digital freedom of speech. Now I would like to introduce to you a new trustee of our foundation, Judge Kari Kusiniemi, President of the Supreme Administrative Court of Finland. He has been serving at this court for more than 20 years, and he was previously a professor of environmental law. He has not only been an active speaker in many of our congresses, in our discussions, but also he has brought together jurists worldwide in order to build a network on environmental law throughout our continent. Thank you very much, and please come up to get the medal by President Ramirez and Judge Kennedy. As you have understood, our friend Judge is not somebody of words, he's somebody of action. We will preside the panel on rule of law, energy transition and climate later on. I will now introduce to you our last awardee of today. I'm honored to present Diego Garcia Sayan. Diego is a trustee of the World Law Foundation since its inception, and when he was contacted in order to help us, he agreed at once and took it in his hands. Since the Congress in Madrid in 2019, he was then the United Nations Special Rapporteur on the independence of judges and lawyers, one of the main subjects of our association. During 45 years of his career, he served as president of the Inter-American Court of Human Rights and as Minister of Foreign Affairs and as Minister of Justice of Peru. Please salute Diego Garcia Sayan.
Thank you very much. I'm really honored to be here to receive this award in a very difficult context that we are suffering in the world, in which the rule of law and justice is really under attack. But I have had a privilege to be here in this house, in the University Bar Association, on several occasions, and see how they are strong institutions like this one were needed. And of course, the World Law Association as a strong messengers of rule of law, of human rights, that gives all of us trust and confidence in the future, and to see that all these attacks that we are suffering, independence of judges, democracy in different parts of the world, will be really successfully overcome. Thank you very much for the work.
Thank you, Diego Garcia Sayan. And this is the end of our ceremony for bestowing the medals. So now we can go to the heart of our work, trying to find solutions all together so that they can be applied for the good of human rights, peace through law. Before we end here, I would like to remember you that the gala dinner tonight at the Metropolitan Club will be one of the highlights. You have to inscribe yourself and reserve your place. There are very few places left, but we will give them all before the end of this day. So you are very much welcome, but please take the action to reserve your place. I wish all of you a very fruitful day.